D-Word Cruz here, watching a Y50. And ooh, see that explosion? Ooh, they gonna get them. I've seen this before. They gonna get them. Think in the next episode though, not in this one. Anyway, the title of this video will be Acrylics versus alcohol markers, or vice versa. Alcohol markers versus acrylic markers. I messed up a little bit on the highlights, but it's only going to take me a second. The markers that I used were Ohuhu. I like Ohuhu. They're working out pretty good for me. I probably have one Copic. I've never had a full set of Copics. I'm probably going to get a small set of Copics within a month or so, just to try them out and to use them for, you know, hard to work with things like when my Ohuhus ain't working out for me. Maybe I'll use the what is it? The Copics whenever Ohuhu doesn't work out for me. Now this one here, let's get to it. This one here is all acrylic. Can you tell the difference? If you didn't know, could you tell whether that was acrylic or alcohol marker? I can tell close up. I can't tell far away, but that's acrylic. Okay? This is all acrylic. You can tell by some of the streaks. One thing about alcohol markers is that you can go over the streaks real easily. You know what I mean? You can put on another layer, and if you use them in a circular motion, they pretty much look like watercolor when you're basically done. Acrylic looks like just what it is, acrylic paint, but yet, you know, you can see the brush strokes. You don't get real good perfect strokes, but I love acrylic. I think I love acrylic more than alcohol, but when it comes to doing detailed work, I think that I like the alcohol markers. But really though, this picture right here, this is alcohol markers with acrylic, and as you can see down here, I had to really match up the colors. I had on this one here, I had to match up the colors of what I wanted for his face, or her face rather. That's a she. Can you tell that that's a she? That's a she. Okay, that's Alice from, remember the Alice show? Alice and you stole it. You know what I mean? With Mel, that's Alice. Okay, that's what she looks like with short hair. If you don't think so, let me know in the comments. Okay. This here, she looks, I'm sorry, she looks a little bit more manly or older. She looks older when I put the lines in her face. Now, first of all, I like what I did with her hair. The hair is mostly alcohol, but these brown lines here are acrylic. And the reason why is because there's already like a brown on the page as far as alcohol. I did the whole thing in alcohol, and then I went and added details with the acrylic. I do this all the time. I love to do this. The little brown lines with the black lines to give the hair a little more spunk are acrylic. It's like it's also a brown, you know, acrylic. Now, I messed up on the face and the neck earlier. Because when I did this in alcohol, down here on the bottom of her chin, I made it look like she had a beard because I accidentally put the wrong alcohol marker, because they looked a lot alike each other. I accidentally put the wrong alcohol marker on her chin, and it made her look like a gay dude with hair on the bottom of his face. And it took me a while, and I kept trying to fix it with both the acrylic and the alcohol markers. This is where acrylics come in, because I tried the colors are not identical. Here's my set right here of my new. These are the new. Okay, I got my computer sitting on top of the old, but these are the new Arctics 30 set. These are not the ones, if you have them, they're not the ones you already have. This is the second set. I did a review on these yesterday. This is set B. And the colors in set B are more able to blend with other things like alcohol markers. You can match the colors up better than the set A, okay? So even with set B, it took me a while, and I ended up doing what I don't usually do, mixing maybe more than one acrylic marker on top of the alcohol, okay? I don't know if you can see it here, but I can. But when I don't know if you can see the gloom there. Can you see the gloom? See, when I turn it this way, you can see the gloom. Acrylic markers are shiny, and when you keep going over them, they give out that shine, depending on how you're looking at them. And if you use alcohol markers and then you go over the alcohol marker with acrylic markers, which I do a lot, you're even going to have more shine. So there's something for you to think about right there. If you are doing like a simple drawing like this ain't nothing fancy, but if you're doing a simple drawing like this, then you want it to shine, then you can just go do your alcohol markers and then go over it with the acrylic marker, and you'll get more of a shine. You can see it better there. And then here you see I only have one or two layers on here. I don't have like a whole bunch of layers on here. So the gloom, the shine gloom, or the acrylic gloom, or whatever you want to call that, is not there as much as it here. It's more here because I went over this several times with both alcohol and acrylic markers until I got the colors to match. But as you can see with the hair, most of it's alcohol marker, and then these little brown lines here are acrylic, because if I had to try to do this with alcohol on top of alcohol, you wouldn't have been able to see brown on top of brown. But because I did it with acrylic on top of alcohol, now you can see I can add other colors to the hair, okay? And I had a rough time. I wasn't even planning on going over with acrylic, but I messed up, so I had to get out my acrylic markers and try and fix this. And after going back and forth between alcohol and acrylic to get that more. Now the alcohol, like these here, now this here one is alcohol and acrylic, okay, but everything else here, and there's a little bit of acrylic up here. Her face is acrylic too, okay, but everything else, her hair, her face, this whole thing right here is 100% acrylic. I mean, not acrylic, alcohol. This is 100% alcohol right here. This is a little bit of acrylic on the face. This is a little bit of acrylic on the face. Okay, acrylic and alcohol mixed, and if you look straight down, you know what I mean, you can see where I struggled and I had to keep going over it to get the colors to match. That's the only problem. But as I said before in other videos, acrylic is really good for fixing anything. It'll fix anything. I use it on my alcohol markers. I use it on my ink tints, pencils, paintings, Neocolor 2s, regular acrylic paint. I use it on everything to fix stuff. So number one, acrylic can be used on anything to add details and fix that place where you're having trouble getting the right color, or if you make a mistake with the color, you can cover it up with the acrylic. Now I apologize here because, and you can do that, but you can only do it with certain colors. If you don't use a dark color, you'll just make it, because when you go over alcohol with acrylic, you can cover up the whole thing and make it look like something totally different. That's what I love about acrylic. It can fix anything. Okay? But when you go over acrylic, I should say, did I say that right? When you go over alcohol with acrylic, you can fix just about anything. But then if you go back over the acrylic with alcohol, this is what I did here, and I made her look a lot older. I was only trying to add a little bit of highlight, and I didn't see, but it took a while for the alcohol to show up. And so you want to work really slowly, and you really want to match your colors. I made her look older here. She started off looking like a young college girl to the college girl's mama. Okay, when I put these lines in here with the alcohol, because I put them in too thick, so now it looks like she got wrinkles. But it was only supposed to be a little line because her face was so flat. I wanted to give it some depth, so I tried to put the lines in. I put them in too good because everything's perfectly dry now, and the alcohol marker that I used to put the lines in was very well saturated, and it seemed like it wasn't working at first, and then I looked closely, it was working, but I'd already put too much on there. So but like I said, you can use both alcohol and acrylic markers together. Maybe you already knew that. Maybe you thought that would be a bad idea. But if you're going to use alcohol markers and acrylic markers together, I say the first thing you should do is do it in alcohol first, and then go over it and change it into anything you want it to be with acrylic. Let me say that again. If you want to use alcohol markers and acrylic markers together, put down the alcohol first, which primes the paper anyway. Really, it primes the paper and makes the acrylic really go on smooth, super smooth and everything. Put the alcohol down first, okay? And then do what you need to do to fix it up and set it up perfectly, finish it up real good with acrylic. So take a good look at this. I don't know if you can see this, but even as it begins to, even after it's been dried, it's still settling. It's funny how it does that. Even after it dries, it's still settling. Because, and the orange, I couldn't get the right alcohol marker better than acrylic though. I was able to find, and that's the thing about alcohol markers real fast. Alcohol markers are more vintage because they've been around longer than these here acrylic markers, okay? They have, let me see here. Let me show you here. Okay, here's similar color. Okay, alcohol markers have been around a lot longer than these acrylic markers. Even Posca pens, I think. Well, Posca pens were originally for graffiti and for drawing on glass and plastic and you know, that kind of stuff anyway. But and just so you know, like these two colors, the acrylic one is always going to be more dominant. Let me show you here real quick. Let me show you. I'll show you here real quick. So here's the acrylic. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I don't know. I think, wow, that's pretty light. Where was it earlier? Okay. Okay, in this case, the alcohol marker has a more orange tint to it. I don't know if you can see that. This is alcohol. This is acrylic. Now look at this. The alcohol marker and the acrylic marker are exactly the same. Okay, they're exactly the same. Okay, they're exactly the same. But when you put them down, okay, so whenever you use acrylic markers and alcohol markers together, again, you're going to start with the alcohol marker to be safe and put it down, and then use the acrylic marker to either finish it or go on top of it and make it what you really want it to be. Whether it be you want the eyes to lighten up, or you want, you know, the hair to really be spectacular, or whatever it might be. Okay, you're always going to put the alcohol marker down first and then the acrylic marker. Okay, and if you make a mistake, you're going to have, like I did here, if you make a mistake, if you're going to have to take the acrylic marker and put in the main details of the color, because if you keep trying to go back over it with alcohol markers, you're going to mess it up. So as this is what I learned today, just now, like, do the alcohol marker once and finish the picture the best you can finish it, and then go over it with the acrylic. And you can go over the acrylic over and over and over. Like, you can white everything out with white. You can't do that with alcohol markers. Okay, you cannot do that with alcohol markers. You put down white, you can lighten up. Like with alcohol, you put down like a you put down the blender marker, or you use the white marker. Like some people, like Blick has a white marker. That white marker doesn't do anything but lighten up the picture, but it does not change the color, and it only lightens up a little bit. If you put too much of it down, it will start to make it look kind of muddy or oversaturated or something. You use it to lighten up the picture just a pinch, and then you might want to put another color down on top of that white. Works the same way with acrylic, but with acrylic, you can go take acrylic and take it on top of really dark colors. Like, you can white anything out with, you know, and the one here in this set here, where is it? Where's my white? Where's my white acrylic marker? My white acrylic marker then decided to do a runner on me. Where the heck is it? Here it is. Here's my white acrylic marker. Okay? This will white anything out, just like a pasta pen. It will wipe it. This one here, now the one in the other set is not as opaque as this one. And I learned that from somebody else that was reviewing the same set right here. Okay, the other white one is very opaque, but not as opaque as this one. This one here is about as opaque in this new set. This one here is about as opaque as Posca pens, as the white in a Posca pen. I've been doing this all day today with this picture right here. Well, for the last 30-40 minutes with this picture right here, I've been using this white to go back over it again and try out another color. Every time one color didn't work, what I had to do was go white over, and whether it was the acrylic or whether it was the alcohol that I was going over, the white whitened the thing out. And then after I put the white down, I can go over it with another acrylic color, or depending on the color, I can go over it with an alcohol color. And I could have let it go a long time ago, but I wasn't content, so I went over with it again with white, and then and then I decided that I'm tired of going over and over and over it, so I just put down the white one more time, and then I used the yellow, and as I let it dry, now the alcohol marker is starting to show through, showing you a more vintage look here. When I first put them down before they dried, all you saw was the yellow. This face was yellow. Now on the camera here, it's showing yellow, but to me this is more orangish pink from where I'm standing. Okay, and everything is starting to look better as it settles. Like even after it dries, it still settles. Okay, that's funny how it does that. But I don't know if you can see it, but the acrylic marker left a little bit of grain in there. You see that little grain there around the eyes, which I did that on purpose. And when it dries, it looks kind of vintage. I love that. And the lips are total alcohol. The hair is total alcohol. And I was pretty sure that the neck wouldn't match, because even after I completed the picture in acrylic, the neck was still off color because of all, I didn't go over as much as I did here. But then as it settled, look at it now. She's even got a little wee bit of an Adam's apple there, which I tried to do. Just a pinch, give her a little bit of vintage, make her neck look kind of vintage by putting a little wee bit of an Adam's apple there, especially since I made her look older. So she's not as graceful. And the more I look at her, the more she settles, the prettier she gets. The more the paint is settling. Like when I turn this video on, she's just settled even more since I've been talking to you. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but she's still settling. Like somehow, even though it's dry, you can run your hand across it. I think it's still drying underneath, even though you can run your hand across it. It's really awesome. So, and if I wanted to, if I was afraid that this was going to settle further than what I wanted to, again, my spray is over there in the box. I could spray this, take this outside and spray it with that glossy finish, just like I do my pastels. Ain't nothing going anywhere because it's behind the glass now, okay? But I pretty much like this now. I pretty much like it. Again, I wish I didn't go so crazy with the highlights for her chin and to put a little bit of curve in her lips, because she was real flat before I did this video. But it looks good, especially looking at it on video. It looks pretty good. Now, if I wanted to, I could take my acrylic paint and lighten this up a little bit to fix it. Because again, you can keep on, this is what I love about the acrylic markers. You can keep on fixing it and fixing it and fixing it and fixing it. That's what I love about the acrylic markers. You can keep on fixing it until it's what you want. So whether you're using alcohol markers, you're using Inktense pencils, you're using acrylic paint, watercolor paint, no matter what medium you're, even oil pastels. Now, oil pastels, you cannot fix anything with oil pastels. You can go over it with acrylic and hide the damage that you did. Like if you go outside the lines, You can take, you can like cover up smudge from the oil pastels on a paper by using your white marker, okay? You can also, if you have a place on there that won't let you add any more color, you can't get the colors right in a tiny spot, you can use acrylic markers to go in there and fix that spot. You can also use the acrylic markers on pastel to do eyes and lips and noses, you know, add detail, okay? But anyway, one more thing before I close about the alcohol markers versus the acrylic markers. Now alcohol markers, you don't have to worry, like when I did the hair, okay? When I did the hair, I did the like strands, you know, with black, you know, alcohol marker. I went over the black with brown alcohol marker. You probably already know that. I went over the black with brown, and I could go over the black with brown and you would know. You cannot tell that I went over the black with brown. That's the beauty of alcohol markers, and that's the beauty of alcohol markers versus watercolor paint and so forth like that, because, and acrylic paint and acrylic markers, because you can't do that with acrylic markers. You can't do that with these, okay? If you put down brown, you would have to go, if you put down the black strands first like I did, you would have to go lightly through each little strand, okay, and put in the acrylic, because you know any acrylic you use, it could be brown, it could be white, it could be orange, it could be another brown. It's going to cover up the strands, and then you're going to have to go back over with the black anyway. But with alcohol markers, you can put the black down and nothing is going to cover up that black. If you go over it enough, you can make that black into a gray by putting your blender on there or putting another color on there. But most of the colors in your palette are not going to cover up that black. You would have to actually spend all day taking your blender marker and deading it and deading it and deading it, and then using another color to make the strands if you got a problem with them being black. Okay, but the strings over here, I went and added texture inside the strings with the brown by going right over the black, and that's the beauty of alcohol markers. And this page is so flat now that it's settled because of the alcohol markers, okay? It's nice and flat, okay? Where the acrylic markers are a little bit more saturated, and they don't prime the paper like alcohol markers do. Because alcohol markers, now this is really good watercolor paper. This is Canson, so the alcohol markers didn't go through that much. So as you can see, for some reason, I guess I did more work up here on the hair than I did down at the bottom by her neck, I guess. So I don't know. But this is Canson. Canson's the best paper as far as any kind of wet media you're going to touch, okay, when it's wet, okay. But anyway, alcohol markers have more color choices than acrylic markers. In alcohol markers, you can go over the dark colors with a color that's a little shade lighter, and you can still, and it doesn't cover up what's already there. The beauty of the acrylic markers opposed to that is you can put a light color down or a dark color, whichever one, and you can draw any picture you want on top of that color. It could be black, it could be white, it could be in between. It doesn't matter, okay? So that's all I wanted to tell you. I wanted to show you the difference between alcohol markers and acrylic markers. Again, this is acrylic. As you can see, it's now what I love to do, like I do here, is if I'm going to really draw something that I find impressive, okay, I'm going to go down, I'm going to put the alcohol marker down as a rough draft, and then put in the perfect specs with acrylic. And like I said, you know what I'm saying, like once you get the sketch down, and once you got a underpainting, I think the acrylic markers, my personal opinion, acrylic markers work better with a underpainting underneath. That's why I like to use the alcohol and the acrylic together. But the alcohol markers, you can put them down without an underpainting because they're almost like watercolor, like when you put them down. And they are their own underpainting, because whenever, if you know anything about, if you've ever looked at any videos on alcohol markers, you put the alcohol markers down, okay, and then you go over them with more alcohol marker. Like you never do just one layer, okay. I don't even do one layer with the acrylic markers. But as you can see, you be the judge. Which one looks better, this one or this one? Okay, as far as color, swatches, and details. Okay, does she look better? I love her color. I love the color of her skin. I couldn't find that in the alcohol markers. I love the color. I love her, like, I love the way I was able to give her like a more Caucasian look or a more pale look. Whereas here, she looks like an orange white woman. Okay. So, but I think if I had known how to play my colors right, because, you know, there's a lady here on YouTube called I'm a Wonder. I'm a Wonder. All one word, I'm a Wonder. Okay? She's a little bit arrogant. She's not, she sounds like she's a little bit arrogant and conceited a lot of times. But she uses both alcohol and acrylic markers, okay? And she doesn't mix them like I do. That's my thing. I'm just showing you that you can do that. I don't even know if she knows that you can do that. You can fix anything with acrylic. So whenever I use alcohol markers, I also use acrylic markers too. That's the way it's going to be from now on, now that I know that I can do that. But she's really good at like getting the right colors, whether she's using Posca pens or whether she's using alcohol markers. She's really good at choosing the right colors. She knows how to mix two alcohol markers together to get the right skin tone. I could have put two alcohol markers together to get this. But I can't put two acrylic markers together to get this. Because, see, let me say that again so you know. I could have put two alcohol markers together to get this look. But you can't put two acrylic markers together to get this. Okay, you can't. Because why? Well, acrylic is opaque. It's the opacity of the acrylic and the fact that it's actual paint, okay, and it's actual acrylic paint or something close enough to it to imitate it, the markers that is. Once you go over, once you let it dry, and now that's the difference between markers and paint. You can put the acrylic paint on something so it doesn't dry as fast and use a brush, and that way you can mix colors better, and you can mix the color on a palette first and then do it here. But with the markers, I have to already have the color in the palette. So then, you know, once I put the color down, it's down. If I put anything on top of it, I can keep on changing that color completely over and over again and white out any mistakes and put new details. But I cannot mix colors with these markers, and it's very hard to do it with paint, but you can do it. But you cannot with these markers mix colors. But with alcohol markers, you can mix colors on the paper, okay, and keep mixing until you get the color you want. But as far as going from a neutral tone like this to a very light tone like this, that's not going to happen with alcohol markers. Okay? Because as you keep on trying to put color down to go back to a lighter color, what you're going to have is, where's it at? Here's the blender marker. You're going to have to use this blender marker, and it's going to put stains, which them stains are kind of vintage. They look good on they make the drawing look kind of vintage. But you're going to have stains there showing where you kept on, and you overdid it, and you're going to have the stains of this blender marker in there, on there too. So hopefully I covered everything, and let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. And like, share, dislike. Let me know you've been watching. Let me know what you think, okay? I think I covered everything here that I wanted to cover. God bless you. I am DeRoy Cruz. Big D is the name of this channel. And hopefully you'll keep coming and liking my content and leaving some comments and giving me advice, because I'm learning just like you're learning, or I'm learning and I'm trying to learn from you. Maybe I taught you something too here. I'm surprised. I love to share stuff that other YouTubers don't tell me. Like, I think there's only one person on YouTube that talked about how she used both acrylic. Well, she didn't say that she was mixing acrylic markers with alcohol markers. She was saying she was using acrylic paint with alcohol markers. Okay, that's what she was saying. And it was more about putting down acrylic paint, okay, and letting it dry, and then no, it was more about putting down the alcohol marker and using the acrylic paint for backgrounds, which that's common sense, and it was also about adding details, just like I explained here. You can use acrylic to add details, but I didn't know about the markers until I experienced it for myself. And this woman didn't talk about putting acrylic on top of alcohol until recently. I found her channel. So I am DeRoy Cruz. Thank you for watching. I think that's enough. If you have any questions, talk to me. Send me an email. Send me a like or dislike. Let me know, and I will talk to you soon with more. God bless you.